So these are the books that my wonderful wife got me for Christmas, with hardly a hint at all, just a couple of emails and links and the price of these, because they were on offer at the time. So rather than me missing out on this deal, I said, if you want to get me some for Christmas, get me these. So this is book number 1. They're all from the Napoleonic Library, and this is the battlefields of the 1815 campaign, which is of course of great interest to me. And there's quite a lot of illustrations in there, and some quotes, of course, from various diaries of the time. Some nice little maps. This is Napoleon's invasion of 15th of June. So yeah, looking forward to that one. This is just the inside cover. There you go. So yeah, that's a nice one. Next one is Waterloo Letters, a collection of accounts. And of course this is edited by Major General H.T. Seaborn, the guy who made the wonderful diorama that you can see at the National Army Museum in Chelsea, which I go to see quite a lot. It is one of the highlights of the visit, just have a little look at the diorama and listening to the commentary from Robert Hardy, who sadly left us, I think it was last year or the year before. Great shame, used to admire listening to him, very knowledgeable bloke on history, particularly archery. So that's basically a collection of letters from survivors of the Waterloo campaign, gathered in the 1830s and 1840s, when he was trying to set up his model diorama, as it says there, which can now be seen in the National Army Museum. Well, I've already done that, haven't I? Okay, so just have a quick flick through. Yeah, a few illustrations. So yeah, this is a basically a facsimile, isn't it, rather than a reprint? But fascinating stuff, I'm sure. Nonetheless, I'm going to enjoy reading that one as well. I've got some reading to do this year. Next one is The Return of Napoleon, Bonaparte's March Back to Power. So, quite a thick book this one. Is there really that much to write about Napoleon's return to power? So his escape from Elba and his march on Paris through the words of eyewitnesses and participants, blah blah blah. Those tumultuous days, etc, etc, etc. And this is modern print rather than the previous one. Oh, there he is. So yeah, that should be fascinating as well. Then we have The March of Death. They've come up with a more dramatic title than that, really. So John Moore's retreat to Corunna. And it's basically... Let's just let you read that. So that's that one. There's 2 more. Waterloo Lectures. And so this is a contemporary set of lectures just after the events. And yeah, I do like this. I do like these old texts. I really should get out more, but I could put all the little bits in the margins there. This one's about... oh, so good pose by date. Let's just see what this has got. So we got Lecture 1, an introduction to the study of the Waterloo campaign, then we've got number 2. Grouchy's Retreat. Very nice map. Who knows, if I read all of these works I could probably do a lecture myself. There you go, so that's going to be fascinating as well. Particularly as it's a series of lectures from the time rather than us looking back in hindsight, so I'm sure there's quite a lot of bias going to be in there. Because they're probably wallowing in victory. And this one, On the Road with Wellington, another Peninsular book. Now this one I'm quite fascinated by, because this is written by a guy who was in the King's German Legion, who was a commissary, so he wasn't a soldier as such, but he makes it quite plain how important his role is, because without the commissary supplying the men with what they need, the army wouldn't work at all, so very valuable role. So this has been translated from the original German. August Schaumann. Okay, apparently some of these bits are a little bit risque, or some of the things that he's writing about are a bit risque, so and when it was first published it was cut down by the not the author but the guy who wrote up the diaries from the originals, and started taking all the naughty bits out. So this isn't the complete diaries, it's abridged, but nevertheless they've taken a lot of the uninteresting stuff out, no doubt, and left all the good stuff in, and maybe even put the rude bits back in. I'll tell you when I've read it anyway, if you really must know. Okay, so there you go, that's the books that I got for Christmas. Very, very good present, really looking forward to that. Okay. Now the wife also, again with a bit of prompting, quite a lot of prompting, well, if you don't ask you don't get, so she got me the MH Gokstad 9th century Viking ship, which is a lovely kit, and she didn't get me the figures to go with it though, so I've had to order those, and I did try ordering them the other day but accidentally ordered some more MH Saxons instead, so I was either very drunk or extremely careless. I don't think I was drunk, so just careless really. And on prompt the son arrives. Right, so now it's settled down downstairs. They have to arrive and then start having some sort of argument. I don't know why. It's as if it's as if I've missed you so much. The first thing I'm going to come in and do is stir some trouble. There you go. That's kids for you. Anyway, love the oars in here. So you get 32 oars, I believe. And you've got the shields that can go along the side if you like. So basically you've got two options. You can either have the oars out the side, I think, or the shields. As soon as I'm going to get the oarsmen, I think I might do the oars and forget about the shields. Maybe I'd need to get another ship. So do one with oarsmen in and one with the shields on the side. So yeah, some good instructions. Love the work on this. Very nice kit, I have to say. A nice prow there, which is optional, yet it's actually attached. Yeah, maybe I could, if I do get another ship, I'll. I'm not so sure about the sail. It looks a bit. It might be difficult to paint. It's very shiny. But what I'm going to do is So you get a little packet of the rigging as well. What I'm going to do is do this in maybe 3 or 4 videos just to show you how I'm progressing with it. So this is video 1 of it in the box. Just show you. There's more stuff there. So quite a few parts, but should be fairly easy to do. I went out and especially bought some polystyrene cement to do this, which is why it's not been started yet. So there you go. That will be my longship. Now then, if you remember from, I think it was my last video or the one before, I'd just received the Strelets Norman Army, Hastings Norman Army. So this is how many I've done so far. Well, I've done a few more than this, but these are the ones that I've actually got to the basing stage. So if I just turn this guy around so I can look at his shield. Some lovely detail on some of these shields, which makes them quite nice to paint. And you may spot a couple of Airfix archers there. From the Robin Hood set, and I think they fit in quite well. You might spot a few more. Oh, there's another one. There he is. And another one there. And another one just behind him as well. So, this guy with the large axe, I think he should really, I think I mentioned this last time, he should really be a Huscarl. So he's in the Norman set, but I think he's going to make his way into my Saxons. And this is the skirmish base. There's another Airfix guy there. Show you the cavalry in a moment. I think that's worked rather well. Let me just pan out a bit. So yeah, I should have 2 of these bases for skirmishers. So yeah, although these are Strelets, I think they paint up very, very nicely. I've had to replace some of the lances or spears in some of these guys because they're not very easy to get off the sprue, and they're fixed to the sprue by about 8 lugs, I suppose you could call them. And of course cutting that out is very, very awkward. So some of the spears actually broke because I was just trying to trim off all the excess plastic and just gave up. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll go old school and use wire instead. So that's one of the ones that came with the set, this guy with the long spear here. And this is one I've fashioned from wire. So it's a little bit thinner, but what the hell, you know. Let's just turn this boy round. So yeah, I've been going for varieties of colours here. Yeah. I know Matthew over in France there, he was he just bought a box of these as well, so there you go, Matthew, that's what my attempt. I do like the guys with the armour, or mail rather. Yeah, I've spent many happy nights sitting painting this lot. And now, the actual mounted fellas. So, this is the first batch that I've painted and based. The rest are currently in production or waiting to be based, so I'll just show you those in a moment. Let's just go along the back of the line here. I've put in a... He's actually a Saxon, this guy, little guy. Because the Saxons didn't have cavalry, so I don't see why he should be in the Saxon army. Just turn these around a bit. So that's the first 11 done. You get 26 in the set, plus I've added in a couple of Revell Saxons and a couple of Revell Normans, so that should take me up to 30 altogether, which I think is a good number. So there you go. Did like painting these, I have to say. So here's a few of the ones that just need to be based. I'm doing a sort of little diorama for William and Odo and the guy with the horn there. William, I decided to put on the Revell horse because it's prancing. And I think that represents, this is the artistic side of me coming out, darlings, I think that represents better William showing his face to the troops after he'd been unhorsed and the Normans thought that he'd been killed. So that's why he's on that horse there, which I think is a good effect. So we've got all these guys ready to be done as well, and if you look around you'll see I've got some Continental Army, American War of Independence guys, because I've been collecting the Airfix guys for quite some time. Just won a thing on eBay yesterday actually, sending me another couple of boxes, £7 for a box of British Grenadiers and Washington's Army, can't argue with that. But these are actually Austrian artillery guys from the 7 Years' War period, but I think they're perfectly acceptable as American War of Independence. So that's what I'm painting them up as. Another look down here.
I'm just going to wash my hair quickly.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Should I go in the shower?
Yes, dear.
Okay.
Never work with children. And these guys are just waiting to be based here, so there's another 9 ready to go. Some guys just waiting for the horses to be finished. Some more artillery. Oh, God, blind, that's doing me back in. God. Right, so if I just clear some space here. So this is what I've got bench-wise. See, I've got the AWI drummer there, so some more Normans. This is basically the last of the Normans that I have to do. A lot of these AWI figures I was finishing off last night. And these guys firing. I've done 8 from the FX set so far, just to do a taster, because I haven't got enough room on the bench first now. I want to get this Norman project out of the way first before I plummet headlong into the American War of Independence. So yeah, some guns there. Let me just shift the paint. Been buying a lot of Vallejo paints recently. I'll just before Madam gets in the shower, I'd better briefly skim round these. So there you go. I seem to have, from the Strelets, I think I might have lost some shields. I keep looking out for them. I've got one up here. So I've had to cunningly fashion some from beer mat. So see if you can tell the difference when I've finished them. I do like this guy. Good pose. Got a priest there reading his book behind that I got from Selweg, and the standard guy, the command set that I've got for my Continental Army are actually Prussian. Let me just find it. It's actually this set, which is the Hat 7 Year War's Prussian Command. And the uniforms, I suppose, are identical to all intents and purposes to the American Continental Army or even the British Redcoats. So rather than me doing them as Prussians for a campaign I'm not going to do, I thought I'd just do them as Americans, and then I've got some ensigns, standards, mounted officers to go with them. Why not? So that's what they are. And you get 4 command sets in there, so that's enough for 4 battalions. And I think I've got 2 sets of them actually. Right, which now will bring me on to the final thing I want to show you. Now, Matthew, thanks very much for this. I got a package from Matthew, and he sent me some stuff that he didn't need, but he thought I could make some use of. So he sent me some European Knights, 1/72 scale from the 16th century. Some nice figures in here, so I'll have a go at those at some point. And also he sent me the Austrian artillery set, which I'm using for my Continental Army. And I think I might get a couple more sets of these because they're a very nice set. You get 3 guns, but one of them goes with the limber, so basically you get 2 batteries and the limber that goes with it, which I've got here, and 4 horses to pull the limber, of which there's one there, and another one there, and another one there. So I think that'll look quite nice. And he also sent me, if I just pull them up here, one of my favourite airfix sets of all time, the Highland Infantry. Yet another set of those. As I've said before, you can never have too many Highlanders. So thank you very much for that, mate. That's going to go to good use as well. I could more or less produce a Highland army these days. And he also sent me some Esky Scots Greys, which I can't find the box at the moment, but I know they're around. So very nice of him to send that. There you go. See you later.